Hey guys, come on in. We're doing a impromptu pop-up live stream on the Bryan Kohberger case. We have breaking news in the Bryan Kohberger case. The judge, our favorite judge, we like to call him Judge Hip on this channel, has come back with a ruling regarding the family member. So this is going to be a very quick live stream. My sourcing on this is the New York Post, and it says that Bryan Kohberger is ordered to fork over $30,000 from his slush fund. Remember, we found out that Bryan Kohberger has $30,000. Six figures, though, is what he has, what he was given by his family. So he was given six figures, and Bryan Kohberger has been ordered to pay for some of that to the restitution of the family. So this is what he ruled. Let's go through it together. Bryan Kohberger was ordered to fork over some of the nearly $30,000 in donations that he received from twisted supporters and to pay back his victims' families. And I am trying to get a list of who those supporters are to see if we can get that made public. He argued, he sent in Ann Taylor. They charged the Idaho taxpayers for three different attorneys, you guys. They for Bryan Kohberger, Ann Taylor was there, Alyssa Massoff was there, Becca Barlow was there, and Becca Barlow was the only one arguing. But he was able to bilk the Idaho taxpayers out of three different attorneys to fight something that he agreed to do in his plea deal. So the judge, so he argued that he was not able to pay the $27,000 in additional restitution to the family members of the victims that he did away with in November 13th, which was yesterday of 2022. So the judge tossed out his poverty plea last night, noting that BK received hundreds of donations from supporters and family members totaling $28,360, according to the Idaho Statesman. You guys, that is his commissary money. That's how much money this guy has. However, he only ordered BK to pay an additional $3,000 to the families of two of his victims, Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez, to cover the cost of their urns. This is so gross, you guys. This guy, Bryan Kohberger, is disgusting, in my opinion. The full amount sought was shaved after the defense successfully argued that the Idaho restitution does not cover travel and hotel expenses, which had bumped up the price tag. And I don't think that's fair. Defense team, which is Bryan Kohberger, is the one that wanted the trial moved from Latah County to Idaho. But apparently his plea agreement didn't cover that. He has been ordered to pay $29,000 to the family members of Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie, plus extra money for Kaylee and Maddie's urns. It's their parents had to go pick out urns, you guys. So BK, who will turn 31 years old next week, has received, and this is according to Judge Hip, we like to call him here, has received nearly enough donations to cover the amount of restitution already ordered. So he can pay his full restitution. So do you guys think the restitution was high enough? Yes or no? Put a 1 in the chat if you think the restitution was high enough. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it should have been higher. He also said that BK can get himself a job in prison to earn money. Woo! I do like that idea. I do like that idea. And here are the victims: Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, Xana, and then the two surviving roommates, Bethany and Dylan. BK is behind bars, serving 4 consecutive life sentences. He was also ordered to pay more than $300,000 in fines as part of his guilty plea. That included $29,000 in restitution to the families for Xana and Ethan, but not for Kaylee and Maddie, according to the Idaho Statesman. So let's dig into the Idaho Statesman for a second. All right. So let's go through that one together. Okay, so This is according to the Idaho Statesman. Idaho State Police Darren Gilbertson and Moscow Corporal Brett Payne, Moscow Police Department Corporal Brett Payne, and Latah County Prosecuting Attorney Bill Thompson addressed questions from the media about the investigation. So this is older. So why are they giving me this? No, this is November 13th of 2025. Okay. So the judge, okay, here we go. It's down here. The judge overseeing the students ordered Bryan Kohberger, who had pled guilty. He admitted to doing this to compensate 2 of the victims' families for funeral-related costs. 4th Judicial District Judge Hippler ruled on Thursday that BK already was responsible for more than $300,000 in criminal fines and fees, and that he must pay another $3,000 at the request of the state prosecutors. So the BK's attorney successfully argued that adding restitution would have expanded the amount he owed by 9 times to offset other expenses for the other families. So they did win a partial win, but I do love that the judge told him to get a job.
Sort of orderly. I will try to be the one to point out who's got their hands up. Right there. Yes.
What more can you tell us about the release documents that the police department is working on putting online, and what?
I just want to do a sound check. Can you guys hear this? Just a quick yes or no. I don't want to do this and then have you guys not be able to hear it. Can you hear this? I don't want to play the whole thing and then find out you guys couldn't hear it.
Bill Thompson with the prosecutor's office and the 2 lead investigators, Brett Payne and Darren Gilbertson. We recognize that everyone has a lot of questions. We're going to try to do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. Also, keep in mind that there are still some things that we are unable to talk about because of either privacy interests for the victims and their families, or they are under seal currently in the court. So if those items do come up, then that will certainly be the answer that you will receive. And to keep this sort of orderly, I will try to be the one to point out who's got their hands up. Right there. Yes.
What more can you tell us about the release documents that the police department is working on putting online, and what can you expect from that?
Certainly. As we put out in that press release, I hope everybody can understand the to be gone through legally to be redacted or figured out whether or not it can actually be released. So I did get word today. It sounds like our website will be going live hopefully this afternoon. There should be another press release coming out in the next few hours to show that website so that people can start accessing that. Initially, what is going to be on there, and certainly this is just for the Moscow Police Department because we're only the holders of our records, but it will be all of our police reports from this investigation. So just the documents there. They'll be redacted, ready to go, again, free of charge for the public. We want to be as transparent as we possibly can, so we wanted to get those out to everyone.
Chief, from the very beginning, your department was saying this was a targeted attack. Can you now say who was the target and what's your evidence to show that?
I'll turn that question over to the investigators to answer that one.
Well, I think Darren and I have the evidence suggests that.
I think what the Idaho Statesman is playing here is just an old press conference so they can get their ads in, which is kind of disappointing, I have to say. I know they want to make their coin, but come on, guys, give us a break here. That looks like the original press conference from before when they caught Bryan. All right, let's go to the Pocono Record, which is a local paper for Bryan's family members. And I think that they are some of the people who have contributed heavily to him. And it just says that you have to sign in to read it. Okay, so much for that one. Let's try one more. I'll just try a tried and true that I know is good. All right, we'll go with NBC. Okay, so NBC says that he has to pay for the restitution. He has to pay for the urns for Maddie and Kaylee. What the family members did for Maddie and Kaylee was they took their ashes and they put half of the ashes for Kaylee and half of the ashes for Maddie into an urn for Maddie's mom. And then they put the other half of the ashes for Kaylee and the other half of the ashes for Maddie and put that in two urns, or in an urn for, I think it's in two different urns for Kaylee's mom. And here are the 4 victims. Yesterday was the anniversary, November 13th, of the day that they were done away with. I did post a comment with pictures of the Idaho students. So the total cost of the urn were $3,075.58. BK has been ordered to pay an additional $251,227.50 in criminal fines and fees, and a civil judgment of $20,000 to each family member. So that's going to total $80,000 and $31,964.67 in restitution to the families of Xander Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. The public defender listed for BK did not immediately respond. That would be Ann Taylor. The ruling also already agreed upon restitution that BK would pay the families of his victims after his defense team argued he should not be responsible for the urns. I don't think this guy has ever been held responsible for anything in his life, because BK would be in prison for the rest of his life and therefore does not have the opportunity to earn money to cover extra expenses. District Judge Stephen, we like to call him Judge Hip here, wrote that the cost of the urns is considered a funeral expense and something that BK had already agreed to pay for under the plea agreement. He also said the cost for the urns, quote, represents minimal additional burden on the defendant's financial obligations in connection with this case, and that BK had already received enough donations to cover the agreed upon restitution. He added that he believes that BK will receive more donations over the course of his life that can cover the cost of the urns, and he also can get a job in prison to earn more funds. So, he really went after BK there, and BK completely deserves it. Hey, this is our head mod, Enjaz. Thank you so much for being here. We have a premiere on a video coming out in just a few moments, so I'm not going to keep you guys on that, but let me, because I don't want to miss that, and that is coming up. Let's see. Let me take this down. Thank you for modding today, Enjaz and Holly. Thank you and I saw, who else did I see in here? I saw a couple of other mods. I saw Kami in here. Thank you, Kami. So thank you so much. Okay, so hi, Nicole. Hi, Shelly. I do want to say thank you so much to Enjaz, our executive producer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our producers, Sasha Angel, George Brown, Michael L. Cole, Christy Valentine, and Randall Rand. And thank you to our channel members. Thank you so much, channel members, for supporting Reporter Room and allowing me to cover the Bryan Kohberger case. We are getting toward the end of the case, but we're not done yet. We still have some discovery to go through. So we will be continuing to follow this case for at least another 6 months or so, while we learn more about what happened. For those of you that are just joining me, the judge did rule that BK is responsible. We found out that BK has almost $30,000 in his commissary. $30,000, you guys. That's what his supporters and family members have given to him for his commissary. And he owes the victims hundreds of thousands. He owes the court in court costs a couple $100,000, and he owes the victims tens of thousands of dollars, $20,000 each to the family members of the victims that he hasn't paid while he sits in jail. And the judge told him to get a job. So I like that. I love this judge. All right, guys. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.